YouTube? Today we are going over a classic Generation 8 set, me versus Wolfe Glick, our third encounter. We're currently 1-1 in sets, and I don't know what it is about Players Cup. For some reason they always make me and Wolf want to face each other, because yeah, this is our third time in Players Cup, and it's kind of crazy. In Players Cup Invitational we played, in Players Cup 1 we played in the losers top 64 bracket. I was actually projected to play Wolf in both Players Cup 2 and 3, with Players Cup 2 I believe being round 3, and round 2 in Players Cup 4 I would have played him if I was able to win the set and then drop to losers immediately. So yeah, I don't know. And then Players Cup 4 we just play round 2 a Swiss. So I don't know what it is with Players Cup, but yeah, me versus Wolf once again. And this is going to be our tiebreaker set for this generation. But since a lot of you enjoyed my post commentary analysis of my last set against Wolf, I'm going to do it once again. And if you haven't already, and if you think you're going to enjoy it, leave a like down below and leave a comment down below first. It really does help me out. But also you could go check out my social medias down below, such as my Twitch channel, where I did originally stream this match. I was originally streaming this match, and I was more concentrated on the actual game than giving analysis. So giving a post analysis would be a bit better in this case. But yeah, let me know in the comments down below of what you think. But otherwise, yeah, we are going to get started. Round 2 of the North American Regional Qualifiers for Players Cup 4, me versus Wolfe Glick, round 2. We're both 1-0. Let's get started and get this analysis underway. All right, so as you can see, Wolf's team is the Hippowdon, Tapu Fini, Celesteela, Dracovish, Raichu, and Togekiss. My team is from Players Cup 4, Grimmsnarl, Moltres, Entei, Rotom-Wash, Porygon 2, and Metagross. Now, we did have access to each other's team sheets, so we knew our movesets and our item choices. So the Hippowdon was pretty interesting. It was a Yawn, Slack Off, Protect, Body Press set. The Tapu Fini was offensive. The Celesteela had Power Herb, Meteor Beam. The Dracovish was Choice Banded. The Raichu was Focus Sash, and the Togekiss I believe was Scope Lens, but I actually don't really remember because I don't have the notes from the battle that we had, so I actually don't know his sets. But yeah, looking at this team, the first thought process was, wow, Rotom-Wash does amazing against this team. Now, it's not exactly free because of Meteor Beam. Celesteela is a little bit actually difficult to handle because of the fact that it can boost up, which is a little bit hard because Grimmsnarl Light Screen is really nice, but the fact that Celesteela can Meteor Beam and boost its special attack makes it pretty difficult. The Dracovish is hard since the only things that I have outspeeded are Moltres and Entei. Nothing outspeeds in Sand, except I'm not expecting Hippowdon here. What I'm expecting is a combination of Celesteela, Dracovish, Raichu, and I was thinking either Togekiss or Tapu Fini because I thought Tapu Fini does pretty well offensively against my team. Or Togekiss could like redirect so Dracovish could get more hits off, or like Celesteela could be protected, which I thought would be like more likely here. So yeah, I ended up deciding to lead. I knew Rotom-Wash was the key, and I definitely want to save him to back. I led Grimmsnarl here with the Metagross in the game 1 because I thought, okay, if I want my Rotom-Wash to win, I feel like getting the boost for Rotom-Wash could be really key, getting the screens up really nice, so I can start setting up nasty plot, because Wolf's team doesn't really do well against Rotom-Wash. Can't exactly damage it super heavily after I get the screens and the boost, which is why I decided to lead the Grimmsnarl and Metagross. He led Raichu and Celesteela, and this turn 1's pretty interesting here because of the fact that there's Fake Out from the Raichu. The Celesteela can just go for a Flash Cannon or Meteor Beam here. And I thought it was more likely you go for Meteor Beam here because there's a chance I could just switch into Rotom-Wash to absorb the Flash Cannon from the Grimmsnarl. I was like debating on what I do with the Grimmsnarl slot, if I want to set up Light Screen potentially or not, was also a pretty key factor. I thought, okay, if it's like Fake Out, I think it's going to be Meteor Beam because I don't think you want to exactly Flash Cannon Rotom-Wash getting him for free here. And I felt like Metagross had a pretty safe opportunity because the Celesteela doesn't have Flamethrower. So I thought, okay, maybe I could just go for the Stomping Tantrum, put the Raichu into Focus Sash, and I thought that would be pretty nice here. So I decided I'm going to go for the Light Screen turn 1, and I'm going to go for the Stomping Tantrum because I felt like that was my best play. No Dynamax is necessary for this turn 1, as we are going to see the Nuzzle actually just come out straight away. So wants to paralyze my Metagross, you know, gives him better odds, slows down my Metagross to make the Celesteela faster, which could be important if I decide to max Quake later on, and I do plan on. So goes for the Meteor Beam as expected. Does want to try to potentially catch my Rotom-Wash, or just to boost up immediately to bypass the damage on my screens because the Celesteela will be at +1, and go straight for the Meteor Beam here into my Grimmsnarl, which does a pretty solid amount. But luckily that's the free Meteor Beam Celesteela can't go for, which means that it can't hit my Rotom-Wash with a neutral move. It'll have to go for Air Slash most likely against my Rotom-Wash. afterward or after Dynamaxes, which I'm assuming Celesteela would 100% Dynamax in this set because Celesteela is just like pretty much the best Dynamax mon for Wolf's side. So it's not a bad position for sure, but I definitely don't want to give the Celesteela extra beast boost. So I'm considering whether to go Rotom-Wash here or if I just go Porygon 2 here. And I decided I think Porygon 2 was probably the better call here to absorb. The thing is about me getting rid of Raichu is the free switch to Dracovish, which makes it complicated, which I was always thinking about, because the position of Celesteela going for Airstream and the Dracovish just getting like the Airstream boost or its Choice Banded Fishious Rends to do a lot of damage was just like something that was really troubling me. So I thought, okay, if I want to do anything here, maybe I can have Porygon 2 absorb this Flash Cannon coming out from the Celesteela under the light screen. I can still spec the Raichu slot to prepare for the Dracovish coming in, because that's what I was planning for. Because I knew Dracovish was most likely going to be next to Celesteela in this position, and that's what the fight was for. So I wanted to have Porygon maybe be able to take those attacks instead of Trick Room, and then would be able to recover and, like, you know, stall out the Dracovish and wear it down, because my game plan currently right now is to isolate the Celesteela, because if I'm able to isolate the Celesteela, Rotom-Wash can handle it in the late game. So you see a Volt Switch come out from the Raichu, which is to be expected basically. I wasn't sure if it was going to be just like a helping hand sack or if it was just going to be a Volt Switch, but Volt Switch should make sense here. And the Dracovish is pretty much what I expect here. I expected either Feeny or Togekiss to be one of the last mons in the back, so I thought, okay, Dracovish probably has to come out here. It's not like super threatened by like any attack that Metagross can do. So yeah, the Dracovish just come out here, as we do see the Flash Cannon come out from the Celesteela, which is going to do an okay amount. And yeah, it did quite a bit, but thankfully with Light Screen. But the thing is, my special defense fell, which I thought was actually pretty important at the time, because the fact that that actually does matter for the chance of Porygon 2 surviving. Because I thought, okay, with that special defense boost, now I'm pretty sure Porygon 2 has no way to survive a max move plus a Fishious Rend coming out. So yeah, that was a little bit annoying for me at the time of what I thought, because I didn't see the damage coming out from the Dracovish yet. I thought, okay, now Porygon 2 basically is going down here. And the problem with Porygon 2 going down here, Celesteela with the KO, probably from Dynamax, is going to get Beast Boost from Porygon 2. So it's a really annoying position, and I can't exactly afford to switch a Rotom on a Fishious Rend here. So I decide I have to sack Porygon 2 here. I don't want to sack Grimmsnarl yet. And I am going to go for the Rockfall actually into the Dracovish. Now, I went for Rockfall because A, it covered Togekiss on the Random Max Quake, which I thought was potential. But also I wanted the Rockfall because I wanted the ability to knock out the specifically the Raichu, because of the fact it's like already super low and will faint to sand damage. So I thought since it does the same damage as Quake, it's probably better in this case. Fishious Rend going to come out here into the Porygon 2, and it does it a lot more than expected actually, even with the +1 Steel Spike boost. I don't think the special defense drop actually mattered at the time, but I wasn't sure of the calc before I made this play. But yeah, I don't think the special defense boost, looking back at it, did actually matter. So Porygon 2 does go down, unless it was a roll, but I really doubt it would have been the case. So Celesteela is able to get the special attack boost. I'm able to go for a Rockfall into the Dracovish, and yeah, this is a little bit awkward. I think the Rockfall actually probably hindered me than benefited me. I think getting a Quake boost would have actually been important, and you'll see that in the late game. But also, yeah, having the Quake boost would have probably been better there. As, yeah, it was probably more likely that Dracovish was going to attack there. I think I said the Togekiss, but then I kind of realized, oh, I already predicted the Dracovish Fishious Rends. There's no reason for Kiss to come out. So yeah, I thought I wanted the Raichu KO, but I think Quake was probably better anyway, especially since I was bringing out Rotom, and you would probably like me go for the Rockfall with Celesteela because it's your best damage output against my Rotom-Wash anyway. So yeah, that was kind of a bit of a hindsight there. We're gonna see the Rotom-Wash come in. Dracovish switches out into Hippowdon, which makes sense to absorb a T-Bolt. Dracovish is also really good offensively against my team. I'm gonna protect here because I need to make sure that the Celesteela doesn't hit me with a big Rockfall here, which it does go for. And I thought, okay, I can pretty much get a Quake off, hopefully into the Dracovish slot. Hopefully no Kiss comes out this time. And I'm going to be able to boost up my Rotom to take an attack from the Celesteela the following turn. And that was my hope. And I'd be able to knock out the Dracovish with the max Quake damage. So that's what happens. Hippowdon absorbs the max Quake damage. And now I'm like, okay, this is not amazing, but it's not terrible either, because Rotom should be able to live the next Rockfall from the Celesteela pretty comfortably with Light Screen and the +1 Spadef. Hydro Pump should be able to KO Hippowdon. I actually wasn't sure if Hydro Pump would KO on the Hippowdon, but I was like pretty sure just because of my Rotom being modest So I was like, okay, the question is, do I just go for the Hydro Pump or not? And what do I do with Metagross? Now, the thing is, the Hippowdon is Yawn, and I know that my loose con is Rotom-Wash getting yawned here. So I'm like, I have to target the Hippowdon. Unfortunately, Hydro Pump does miss, as you see here, which is actually a really big shame because I felt like if I had Hydro Pump, I was in a prime position because Raichu always, if it ever came in, it'd have to Volt Switch or just go down to sand damage, and the Draco Vish was already weakened, and my Metagross was boosted with Steel Spike, so I think I would have been able to live with one attack and KO it with Stomping Tantrum. So very unfortunate there, and Hippowdon's able to see, as you can see, get an extra body press hit off into Rotom-Wash, which was really unfortunate, and the Iron Head does no damage, and Rotom was my only way to hit the Hippowdon. So at this point in the game, I'm like, yeah, that Hydro Pump miss probably just like basically lost the game. I think at this point, like, I felt like potentially I could have won or would have been in a good spot. I don't know if I would have won the game, but it would have put me in a really good spot there, as for the reasons I mentioned earlier, Raichu going down to sand damage, as well as the Draco Vish not being able to knock my Metagross. Of course, there was the potential of Celesteela doubling out my Metagross, and there was also the potential of me getting paralyzed, which I have been very fortunate not to get paralyzed. So Hydro Pump into Hippowdon here, and I will go for the Rock Slide. I mean, I do have to get rid of Hippowdon, and Wolf does realize that you should never allow a Thunderbolt to get off in the Celesteela next to Raichu, which was really smart at the time. I forgot to consider that option, but not like much would have changed anyway. Worst, I guess, maybe I could have Hydro Pumped the Celesteela and Rock Slide, which would have probably done a decent amount, but I don't. It could have changed the end game, I guess. Air Slash misses, which is actually kind of big because, okay, maybe that gives me a chance to come back in the game. But the thing is, the Hippowdon's still there, and the thing about Hippowdon being alive is I have to target it eventually with Rotom-Wash with a Hydro Pump, and I have to hit that Hydro Pump or I just lose the game anyway. So I can't target down Celesteela anymore with Rotom-Wash because the only shot I have to get rid of Hippowdon is literally the Rotom-Wash. So here comes the Draco Vish coming in, and I felt, okay, this is a little bit of an awkward situation. I don't know if Thunderbolt knocks out Celesteela in this position, so I know the Draco Vish can't protect. It has to go for Fishious Rends here, and in my mind, I'm like, okay, Rotom can protect. I could go for maybe a Stomping Tantrum, hope that knocks out Draco Vish, which I kind of doubt in this position it really does. But I was like, maybe there's a chance, because like I think I'm like really back end right here. Like it's looking pretty grim here, so I thought, okay, maybe the play that I hope for here is Wolf messing up and doubling out my Metagross, committing to the hard Rotom Protect, and then Rotom-Wash could actually be able to potentially win this game. It would still be very unlikely here, but like I have to go for like any chance. The Fisher's Run did go into Metagross. Thunderbolt is able to knock out the Draco Vish, and like if Celesteela targeted the Rotom, I have to hope then Air Slash misses, but Air Slash does connect onto the Rotom. But I do live on 2 HP because of the light screen, which was pretty important, and Sand actually wears off this turn, which is really big. But the thing is, the Hippowdon's coming in anyway. They both have Protect, so like I don't get any damage off anyway. So I tried to come up with something that allows me to get into maybe a position where something like, I think at this point I had to hope that Metagross could 1v1 the Celesteela, which is already tough because light screen's gone, and the fact is that the Celesteela is already boosted from its beast boost from previous, as well as the Meteor Beam from earlier. So here I'm like, there's no way you don't double protect here. I think letting one of these mons go down is just like, there's no reason to. So Celesteela does go for the protect, and the Hippowdon does go for the protect as well. And I'm like, okay, so I go Grimmsnarl here, and my plan was I'm gonna taunt the Hippowdon because at this point in the game, I think I have to hope that Metagross 1v1 Celesteela somehow, which very unlikely, but I think it's my only way out. So I go for the taunt into the Hippowdon, and I go for the Rock Slide, I think, because I need to chip on Celesteela, and I gotta pray that Metagross can somehow like crit the Celesteela a bunch of times, and that the Celesteela like misses or something. So Hippowdon falls for the taunt there. Flash Cannon comes out, knocks out my Grimmsnarl, gets an extra beast boost on top of that, which is bad for the end game, which is why, like I said, the Hydro Pump could have mattered actually in this position, because if I Hydro Pumped the Celesteela, it would have actually gave me maybe a shot, because Celesteela would have been weakened, and Rock Slide, like a few Rock Slides might have actually been able to do it if I went for Hydro Pump and Celesteela, which is why going for the Hydro Pump on the Hippowdon earlier was and not considering the Raichu play was a little bit of a problem. So I go Rotom-Wash here. The Hippowdon's taunted, so there's no Protects I know coming out. And I have to Hydro Pump Hippowdon, I think. Like, I know that Celesteela is probably attacking here. I think you could probably protect Celesteela here as well, because it's going to probably result in the same thing anyway. But I'm going to go for the Hydro Pump Hippowdon, because I don't think that Metagross, even if the Hippowdon's taunted and I get the KO on Celesteela with Thunderbolt, for instance, I don't think Metagross is going to be enough to handle the Hippowdon, which I think there are only 2 turns of taunt left. Actually, no, I think it's 3 turns, but even then, I think it's very unlikely I actually beat Hippowdon. So Hippowdon goes down. The Air Slash comes out into the Metagross because the Rotom is going to feint to sand anyway. And like the Air Slash, as you can see, is just doing a bit too much damage. I even flinched on top of that, but unless I was critting Rock Slide there and then picking up the knockout with the next Rock Slide, like double critting Rock Slide, I think I had to. But there was basically no shot. I had to dodge all the pairs. I had to dodge all the flinches as well. Like, there was basically no point. And Flash Cannon is just going to 2-KO my Metagross from here. So, like, I don't think it was bad here. Like, I don't think the game plan was terrible. I just felt like probably execution-wise, I kind of let Celesteela kind of do its thing, which is kind of tough for me, right? Because, like, there's not much I can do against Celesteela, so I have to find, like, I know in game 2, I'm going to have to find a position where I have to out-aggressive the other slot. Like, I have to get rid of the other slots a lot faster for the Rotom-Wash win. And Grimmsnarl lead, I felt like wasn't great, because even though I was able to get the light screen up to bulk the attacks, the problem with the Grimmsnarl lead is that Celesteela always threatened A, to set up, and then B, the Beast Boost knockout straight away, which made it extremely tough. So, and then switching into the Celesteela was also pretty bad. So I kind of considered those lessons, and this game 2, it's not exactly the most solid, I think, plan, but basically my game 2 plan, I felt like I'm going to try leading Porygon this time, because I felt like Porygon could be good here. Thankfully, it wasn't weakness policy Celesteela. If it was weakness policy Celesteela with the Volt Switch on the Raichu, oh man, this matchup would have been even more rough probably. But yeah, I felt this time Porygon lead is probably really safe here, as Porygon lead, you know, is able to take attacks from the Celesteela even at +1 pretty well, and Metagross again could go for the Quakes if I really need to. Like, I wasn't sure if Dynamaxing the Metagross is to play or Dynamaxing Rotom's to play. I felt like I could have probably, like, I was going to feel out how this game 2 was going to play and then decide then. But I know that Entei's not going to be brought here. Like, Entei helps against Celesteela, but it's like pretty bad against the Dracovish. It's pretty bad against the Hippowdon. Granted, if I get the burn, it kind of helps. And then the Celesteela probably gets some Steel Spike boosts up, and I can't really do anything. So I felt like it was pretty pointless to bring Entei. So, and like, again, Rotom-Wash is like key to winning this game and protecting with screen. Even if a Grimmsnarl is just bringing the screens here, it's still pretty helpful anyway. So yeah, so I go into this game 2 with pretty much the same mods, just in a different order. I'm going to try out the Trick Room option, because I think the Trick Room option does give me the best chance of winning this game. So we're going to see the Raichu and the Dracovish lead here, and this is really scary because there's like some options here that is pretty important to consider. Specifically, do you go for Fake Out Fishious Rend immediately, or are you going to go for Helping Hand Fishious Rend, which both were pretty considerable options here. So I thought about Dynamaxing Porygon too, but I wasn't sure if Wolf would try to call that potentially. So I felt like, okay, if I lose my Porygon here, it's not the end of the world. And if I get rid of Raichu, it's actually pretty big for me in general, because it allows my Rotom-Wash to actually get damage off. So I thought, okay, you know what? I'm going to go for the Stomping Tantrum here, and I'm just going to go for the Trick Room. I'm already backed in the corner. I kind of had to do something here. So Wolf does go for the Helping Hand Fishious Rend. I was like, please not the Metagross. And thankfully, it was not the Metagross, and it was Porygon, and Porygon just able to survive because the Dracovish is not the Strong Jaw variant. The Stomping Tantrum is able to basically put that Raichu into sand range, and we do get to Trick Room up. And this is basically a phenomenal spot. This gives me a good position, because now it's a pretty free recover here, and I could pretty much get the K on the Raichu slot if they stay in. The Raichu doesn't have Protect. I go for the Rock Slide here. It's a little bit greedy, but I felt like the Raichu was switching out anyway. I really thought there was going to be like a switch coming out into like Celesteela and Hippowdon, and Hippowdon comes out for the Dracovish slot, and I don't remember if Raichu actually stayed in. I think it did. Yeah, it did actually stay in. So Recover comes out from the Porygon 2. Like, I got, like, having Porygon 2 that helps stall the Celesteela is pretty nice here. I can get some chip damage. Tri Attack is pretty nice against the Hippowdon because it's actually a pretty decent strong move against the Hippowdon, which is nice. And yeah, so pretty good 2 turns. I was able to get rid of Raichu, and now my Rotom-Wash is a lot more freed up now, and I don't have to worry about Raichu switching in for Lightning Rod in the future. So the scary part is whenever I geyser the Dracovish, and the Dracovish is still healthy, so that's a little bit of a problem. But right now I'm considering, do I want to like get in my Rotom-Wash and switch in immediately, or do I want to like conserve it and just like have these Pokemon stay in for a bit and try to get some damage? Because I'm not doing that much damage to the Celesteela right now, and the Hippowdon Yawn is going to be annoying. But I felt like, okay, best place to recover, and I'm going to go hard Rotom-Wash because I thought, okay, if you're going to do anything here, I think you're going to double up the Porygon too, because I don't think you're going to target down Metagross, because A, you're not doing that much damage to Metagross, and B, like the Porygon 2 is something you kind of gotta try to get rid of, I feel like. So what's actually interesting here is that there is a Dynamax, which I was expecting. I was expecting either like a Flash Cannon or just a straight up Meteor Beam into the Porygon 2 slot, but no, we are actually going to see the Celesteela Dynamax here, which wasn't what I considered. But yeah, Wolf chooses to Dynamax the Celesteela. We are going to see that the Hippowdon did go for the Yawn into Metagross, so in case I Dynamax and tried to like bulk out the Celesteela with my by max quaking, like I would get punished. So yeah, it definitely makes sense. Recover is going to come out from the Porygon 2 and recover that HP. We're going to see the Steel Spike come out. It does target down the Porygon slot and does an okay amount of damage. Thankfully it's not boosted, no screens are up yet, but yeah, so now this is a little bit annoying. Of course, my Rotom-Wash did come in on a good spot, but unfortunately did have to catch the Yawn. Now I was going to be switching out the Rotom because I can't let Rotom fall asleep. If I let Rotom fall asleep, I'm pretty much doomed here. So like I go for the recover here, like another passive play, and this is perfectly fine for me because the Celesteela is not picking up a knockout and I'm stalling out his max turns, which is really important because again, the Celesteela not getting the Beast Boost or like getting big damage in the Rotom is pretty important for me. So you see a Body Press here, and Body Press is doing a lot more because I kind of forgot about the Steel Spikes are boosting up the Hippowdon's defense stat, which is boosting up the Body Press damage. I actually forgot about that. I don't think I realized till actually a bit later, till the Body Press damage actually comes out in the Porygon. But yeah, another Steel Spike into Metagross, and yeah, I just take a beating with Metagross. But the thing is, Metagross is alive, which is pretty important, and it looks like I'll take another attack from the Celesteela, which means no Beast Boost for the Celesteela if you don't double up into Metagross here. Now this is a little bit of an awkward position. I felt like Tri Attack was safe in the Hippowdon. Like I did think that Tri Attack was safe in the Hippowdon, but I kind of contemplated because I wasn't sure if I go for cover here or if I go for Tri Attack in the Hippowdon. I go for Tri Attack, and I think it was the lapse of judgment. Again, I literally forgot about the Body Press being boosted from Steel Spike, so it's actually doing a bit more damage than I remembered. And then like, oh wait, you get the boost, so you're getting the boost and the Beast Boost, which is the more important part because the Celesteela is going to double up the Porygon. I go for Rock Slide here because I want to chip on the Celesteela, and if you double up my Metagross, that's fine. I don't think that's that big of a deal. Airstream is going to come out and the Porygon is going to pick up a knockout. So Wolf did end up getting one Beast Boost, but luckily I still have my Dynamax available and I still have Rotom-Wash available, which is huge. And this Speed Boost is not really going to matter too much on Celesteela because I think my Rotom-Wash still outspeeds this at +1 because the Celesteela is not like the offensive one at all, or the max speed offensive one. So Rotom-Wash is going to come out here. Like I pretty much have to. And what's nice is Trigger more off, so now I can go for Geyser. Now this was a shaky part because I could go for Lightning in the Celesteela and I could go for Geyser in the Hippowdon. And the thing is, if I go for Geyser in the Hippowdon, I get punished because Dracovish is going to come in. My Rotom this time is actually slower than Dracovish if it's Adamant max speed. I used to run Rotom-Wash where it outsped Dracovish by 1 point if it's Adamant, but this Rotom-Wash is actually designed to be slower, a bit bulkier. So yeah, that actually kind of hurts me in this position because there's also the chance, since Dracovish is full health, you could actually go switch out the Hippowdon and go out into your Dracovish. I'd be in a lot of trouble. But right here, I'm gonna pray that they go for the Yawn here. It's maybe trying to catch the max lightning here. So I go into Grimmsnarl. This is a bit of greedy play, but the thing is, Metagross is not doing this position. And I thought, okay, I think you're gonna probably try to Meteor Beam now. And if you're gonna try to Meteor Beam now, I want like a screen up for Rotom-Wash in the late game, so I can take the Dracovish attack better. But that's basically what I was going for here in this position. So I Dynamax Rotom-Wash here, and I am going to see that the Celsius went for Flash Cannon. It targeted down my Grimmsnarl. So really good call from Wolfe's end. I think he probably expected this, because I don't think Flash Cannon would have knocked out the Metagross in this position, since the Celsius was only a +1. So I think he did catch the Grimmsnarl and did call me trying to go for that. And at least I was able to get rid of Powdon, which is a really big factor, because again, I couldn't really touch that Pokemon for much damage. But now this is a little bit of an awkward situation, because that Dracovish is still at full health. The Celesteela is pretty healthy as well. I do have Dynamax Rotom, but this Vicious Rends is gonna hurt like a truck, and I don't know which slot it's gonna pick up a knockout on. Also, the fact that Celsius was able to get a Beast Boost there, now it's at +2, makes this Meteor Beam actually a bit more of a threat here. So wasn't sure on what to do, but Rotom-Wash has to attack here. I'm hoping that I can knock out the Celesteela. And oh wait, no, the Celesteela is faster than my Rotom-Wash. I think I miscalculated the speed. Yeah, the Celsius is faster than the Rotom-Wash. So goes for the Meteor Beam right here, and is going to be able to get a big hit off into Rotom. I protected the Metagross because I thought there wasn't much Metagross could do in this position. But Rotom actually avoids the Meteor Beam hit this time. So yeah, that was actually very fortunate, because even though it wasn't going to KO, Meteor Beam into Vicious Rend did not look like a KO at all. The thing is, what was important about it is I would have got back Sitrus range, but I would still been in range of Vicious Rend, which would have been a big problem. So yeah, so that was actually pretty big here. Celsius able to go down there. I felt I protected the Metagross, which was probably unnecessary now that I look back at it. I think I was just worried about like Celsius going for another Beast Boost into Metagross right there. But yeah, this is still an awkward position because of the fact that Dracovish, because this is my last turn of Dynamax with Rotom, and then after Dynamax is over, I'm probably in range of a rain boosted Vicious Rend. So this is a little bit awkward. I go for a double protect here with Metagross, because I was like, okay, my one hope is to pray that Metagross is able to get the double protect. And yeah, because I felt like Wolfe was going to target down that slot, because if I didn't get this, like the lightning is not going to KO Dracovish without a crit, and this basically maximized my odds. If you Vicious Rends a Rotom, I just hope you don't crit, and then afterward I hope that the damage that Max Lightning does puts you in range of one of my attacks from one of these Pokemon, and then I could just double up the Dracovish, and it can only target one slot. So very fortunate there, for sure. I think the protect on my Metagross the previous turn was definitely not a great play here, and yeah, the Meteor Beam was pretty lucky. Meteor Beam miss was very lucky here. So yeah, I mean, I could still lose here because again, Stomping Tantrum, not sure which to go. If Wolfe goes for the Vicious Rends into Rotom-Wash and Metagross is not able to knock out the Dracovish, Wolfe just wins. So I thought, okay, there's a chance Rotom can protect here, and you can Vicious Rend some Metagross, and you're probably not assuming I'm going for a Triple Protect or getting the Triple Protect. So I thought, okay, Vicious Rend can most likely target down the Metagross, and Wolfe has to make a call there. And I thought, okay, I'm going to just go in here, and end up working out. So I am able to get the knockout in a Dracovish, and we are able to go into a game 3. So game 1, Hydro Pump miss was pretty big. Game 2, Meteor Beam miss was pretty big. So not exactly the cleanest set, but game 3 is the game to win. And yeah, this is definitely, I felt like I was pretty okay with this. I felt like my mid game was lacking a little bit. Again, forgetting about the body press damage increase because of the Steel Spike boost was a little bit on hindsight for me. But yeah, I felt like overall game's definitely doable. I have an idea if Wolfe leads the same way of what I can do here, but I am going to lead the same thing of Porygon 2 plus Metagross. It is probably my most solid lead here overall. Again, like a Grimmsnarl, as I mentioned before, the flaws of leading Grimmsnarl, and I don't want Rotom-Wash lead because I don't want Rotom-Wash weakened. So that's why I don't want to lead Rotom, because again, weakened Rotom really bad against Celesteela, especially if it's not boosted already. So I considered Entei for potential game 3, but I was like, it wasn't worth it, because like the Pokemon Wolf was bringing, he was never bringing Tapu Fini, which actually meant that Entei could actually put in work. And Snarl would have actually been kind of big against the Celesteal. So I thought, maybe I could go Snarl here. But the thing is, the Meteor Beam was doing a lot of damage. And the Sacred Fire boost wasn't exactly, I felt like, enough damage to where also Entei wasn't exactly bulking out the hits from the Celesteela or the Dracovish. So I felt endgame wise, Porygon 2 Metagross is still the safest call no matter what. With Rotom-Wash and Grimmsnarl on the back. Like again, protecting Rotom can be better. So the thing is, if Wolf leads the same thing, I had an idea of what I want to do turn 1. Because I'm pretty sure you would go for Fake Out Vicious Rends this time around. If he doesn't lead that, I feel like no matter what, I think I'm in an okay spot at the end of the day. But we'll see what he leads. It was the Raichu plus the Dracovish here. And I'm like, you're not going to Helping Hand this time. You're not going to Helping Hand Porygon 2. Or Helping Hand Vicious Rends to Porygon 2 slot. There was a chance you'd go for the Metagross slot, but there was a chance I would Dynamax the Metagross this time around and actually survive, get the Trick Room up. So I felt like, okay, Fake Out Vicious Rends makes the most sense. Trick Room doesn't go up, and the Dracovish can still wreak havoc here. So I thought about this, and I was like, do I go for the turn 1 Dynamax to Porygon 2, which is not exactly amazing. I was basically outweighing the cost right here. This is why it took me so long. So I was like, okay, if I Dynamax to Porygon 2, do I have enough resources to where I can stall out the Dynamax Celesteela and win the endgame with Rotom-Wash still? And I felt like the answer was yes. So I went for the Max Strike and Rock Slide here. Now, I was hoping for Max Strike to do a lot of damage to the Dracovish. I was hoping for 80% realistically, and then I was hoping Rock Slide could like pick up the knockout while putting the Raichu into a Stomping Tantrum range. So that's basically what my idea was right here in this situation. So I do Dynamax the Porygon 2, and yeah, as we can see here, the Fake Out this time, which was caught, and then the Vicious Rend here doing a little bit less to the Porygon than I thought, but Rock Slide going to come out. This breaks the Raichu's Focus Sash, and we'll put in the range of Stomping Tantrum later, which is pretty important. And I go for the Max Strike here, and I was really hoping for a lot more damage than this, but yeah, Dracovish decently bulky, and the Porygon 2 didn't get the special attack boost. But we do get the Speed Fall, which is actually really important here, because that shall allow my Metagross to outspeed the Dracovish unless the Hippowdon comes in. Now, I know that there's going to be switches here. I just don't know into which slot. I thought it was going to be like Celesteela into the Raichu slot, and I thought it was going to be like Dracovish swapping out into the Hippowdon potentially. But Wolf makes a great play and switches out the other slot. I think Wolf was expecting the Max Strike just to go into the Dracovish slot once again, which is completely fair. Wolf's going to come out into the Raichu, from the Raichu into the Hippowdon slots. So this is a little bit strange for me. I don't get as much damage off as I would like. If I doubled up the Raichu slot, it might have been better in this case, since Raichu couldn't protect. But yeah, Stomping Tantrum does come out into the Hippowdon slot, and the Max Strike does come out into Celesteela slots. So not exactly an amazing spot for me, but I am able to get, again, chip damage in Celesteela is really important in this matchup. That might put in range of Thunderbolt after a little bit more chip from my Metagross. So I felt like this was a pretty okay position. And this next turn, if I can get rid of the Hippowdon, I'm going for the knock on the Hippowdon. So, and like the extra damage onto the Celesteela in this position doesn't really change anything. Celesteela can go for an attack here, but the attack would probably not do anything here. So I actually don't think I don't think Celesteela is going to do too much, and I don't think Max Phantasm and the Rock Slide is like worth the target into Celesteela. So I felt like just going for the Strike and the Hippowdon and seeing if I could get a knockout with a combination of Iron Head into Max Strike would be able to knock out the Hippowdon, which is what I go for. And luckily the Protect from Celesteela just makes it better, because Wolf doesn't want to take as much damage because he knows that that's the only Dynamax money he has, so he wants to keep it as healthy as possible, which makes sense, especially because Rotom is such a big threat now. The Hippowdon, it does let the Max Strike here into Iron Head combination and is able to heal off of its Sitrus Berry. And Iron Head here, like again, I went for Iron Head most damage, but it also has the chance to flinch. Yawn does come out though from the Hippowdon into the Porygon slot. So Not exactly amazing, but it's still fine at the end of the day because I can switch out the Porygon here. And I'm like considering whether to go Grim or go Rotom here because of the fact, again, it's like the situation what happened in game 1 where do you Meteor Beam turn 1 or do you go for the Flash Cannon? And here I'm like, I think Grimmsnarl is probably worth it because you're not, I don't think you're Dynamaxing this position specifically. I'm just going to go for the Iron Head in the Powdon here because I don't think I'll pick up a knockout, but I could crit or I can flinch the Powdon and weaken Hippowdon's really nice. And I'm going to go Grimmsnarl because again, I can't afford Rotom-Wash to take a Meteor Beam right here. And luckily Meteor Beam is what comes out here. So yeah, wants to boost up that Celesteela so that when Wolf does Dynamax, he's getting even more damage output when he does decide to, which is pretty important. So goes for the Meteor Beam here. That is the one shot that Wolf does have against my Rotom-Wash though, which is pretty nice after Dynamax is over. And the Slack Off does come out from the Hippowdon. So the Hippowdon is able to break through, but this is completely fine here. As now I'm deciding, do I want to get Reflect Up or do I want to get Light Screen up? Because I wasn't sure. I felt like Light Screen was the play and I do decide to go for it because Reflect against Dracovish could be huge because I know I can't Geyser this time because there is no Dynamax for my Rotom-Wash this time because I Dynamax Porygon too, and Wolf can't Dynamax the well, you could Dynamax Dracovish to set up the rain, but otherwise can't set up the rain. Wolf makes a smart play here. I thought he was going to start setting up Steel Spikes, but he does just go for the Flash Cannon here to get another Beast Boost off without wasting a max turn, which is very smart here. So Grimmsnarl goes down here, and yeah, Celesteela is able to get a Beast Boost once again, and the Hippowdon is able to basically get back to full. So this is not a great position by any means. It's still probably okay, but it's definitely not amazing here. I had 3 Pokemon to work with, and Porygon 2 is decently healthy and should be able to survive one attack with the Light Screen. So I go Rotom-Wash here, and now this is where it gets tricky because again, Hippowdon is a potential switch. There is the Dynamax Celesteela that's definitely coming out this turn, I was for sure. The Raichu's still in the back. So I felt, okay, I have to make some kind of plays here. I decided to switch out into Porygon 2 because I wasn't really getting anything. I think the only thing I could have done was like double up the Powdon slot with like Hydro Pump plus the Stomping Tantrum in case Dracovish was coming out. But I was assuming either A, Hippowdon protected, or B, stays in and tries to get a Yawn off once again as a really aggressive play here. So I bring out the Porygon 2, getting the special attack boost, which is really nice here, as Tri-Attack should be able to knock out the Dracovish guaranteed, and then maybe I'd be able to KO the Raichu Understand. But basically I gotta figure out ways to maneuver here for sure, because maneuvering is really important. So the Celesteela does go for the Dynamax here, and my Rotom is gonna go for the Hydro Pump right here. Now there was a chance I could have went for the Protect there, which is something I considered, but I felt like, okay, I can Hydro Pump the Hippowdon because Wolf might expect to Protect as well, which was a potential possibility. Goes for the Rock Fall to cover if I don't Protect, which definitely makes sense here, and is able to go for a lot of damage into my Rotom, even with the Light Screen up, because that Celesteela is at +2. I'm pretty sure the Hippowdon just went for Yawn into my Metagross slot to make that slot basically useless, force a switch, or fall asleep, so Wolf could focus down the Rotom, which I felt like completely made sense. So I'm like, okay, how do I maneuver this position? Because this position is not exactly amazing. I still have to stall out the Dynamax turns from the Celesteela. And yeah, the Celesteela is a bit of a problem, but luckily it can't pick up a knockout unless it's the Rotom-Wash with Rockfall. So Raichu gonna come out, which I thought it was gonna be Dracovish, but I was like okay with this position, because now I'm like, okay, gotta deny these getting a KO here. So I go for the Protect here, and I switch out the Porygon into Metagross because I know no attack should be able to knock out my Metagross in this position. I think the only thing that could have gone really bad here was Raichu going for a Volt Switch hard into Dracovish, and then the Celesteela boosting with Airstream. But I felt that was kind of unlikely, as if I get Trick Room up with my Porygon 2, I think Wolf's in a worse spot if I go for a Trick Room. So I felt like it was really unlikely that he would go for a Volt Switch double up into Porygon 2, because Volt Switch Porygon Full switch the Porygon into an Airstream might not even knock out the Porygon in that position. So I felt like Fake Out was coming out into one of my slots, especially since I couldn't max. So I protect Rotom-Wash here. I have to. I can't let Rotom take damage. Fake Out going to come out into the Metagross slot, and the Steel Spike does come out into the Porygon slot. So yeah, that's basically what I expected. It's a very safe play. And now this is where it gets a little bit interesting. Luckily it wasn't Helping Hand Steel Spike. Helping Hand Steel Spike would have probably screwed me. Now that I look back at it, now I'm like, okay, this should be an attack on the Rotom this time. I am gonna go for the Stomping Tantrum and hope that I can knock out the Raichu through the defense boost, which it looks like it'll probably be around a range anyway. It's gonna be a roll. So I thought, okay, I need to get a Raichu because this is Celsius last turn Dynamax, and this should for sure be an attack on the Rotom. Like this, I think had to be an attack on the Rotom right here. And I was really worried about potential Helping Hand Rockfall into the Rotom-Wash slot. Then I'm like, okay, I have to swap here. So that's basically the only play I think I could really do here. I don't think there's another play that really changes anything for me. If Wolf hard calls this, he hard calls it, targets my Metagross. That's probably game. But yeah, we do see a Helping Hand come out from the Raichu, and luckily I am able to get a Stomping Tantrum off into the Raichu, which is pretty big. It doesn't pick up a KO, and I was like, oh man. But then I remembered, oh yeah, Rockfall. Since you did go for Rockfall, the Sand is going to pick up the knockout. So now it's Dracovish Celesteela versus Rotom-Wash and the Metagross. No Reflect is up, no defense boost for the Rotom-Wash, but there is a light screen involved. Celesteela is boosted +3 now, and oh boy, I'm like, this is pretty close of an end game. So this turn is going to be all the marbles here because the Dracovish is choice banded. It cannot protect. It has to lock itself into move here, and it's going to be Fishious Rends. It's faster than both of my Pokemon. It gets a KO, and I'm trying to figure out, all right, so how are we going to do this? Because this is a really interesting situation right here, because Rotom-Wash can pick up a knockout, Metagross can pick up a knockout into the Dracovish, which is pretty huge. I'm like, okay, what can I do here? Now this is a big turn for both of us. There are so many options. Either one of my Pokemon could protect, the Celesteela could protect. Who are we starting? This is a really important turn. Does Fishious Rends even knock out the Rotom-Wash at this range is a pretty big question as well. So I decided to gamble because there's a chance that Rotom-Wash should I felt like Rotom-Wash should be targeted by the Dracovish, and like a protect could be like really obvious. And this is like a game 1 mind game as well, because we had this situation as well in game 2 and game 1 actually. So I felt, okay, I'm gonna mind game this. I'm gonna go for the Metagross protect play. It's aggressive, but I think it's more likely here. I protect Metagross, but the Celesteela actually decides to go for a protect as well, which was interesting, as the Fishious Rend is going to come out into the Rotom-Wash here, and Rotom-Wash is able to survive, and what's more important is able to survive with an extra turn of Sand. So the Dracovish goes down to the Thunderbolt, and the Rotom-Wash is still alive after the Sand Chip, which is pretty big, because now the only way that Celesteela can win is by double protect, because I will faint down to another turn of Sand damage. But if I'm able to get the Thunderbolt damage, it's absolutely huge. So go for Thunderbolt because I don't know how much it's doing, and I go for Rock Slide, as Celesteela does fail to double protect, and the Thunderbolt is able to knock out the Celesteela, and that is a victory somehow. I don't even know. It was a victory here against Wolves. So that turn was pretty big. It was just a really big turn with the Dracovish and Celesteela versus the Rotom-Wash Metagross. It could have gone multiple different ways. So let me break it down a little bit more for anyone trying to understand. So I think I questioned this play too afterward. I wasn't sure like why Wolf decided to protect Celesteela, but I felt like afterward it kind of made sense. So the thing is, I needed Rotom-Wash alive to KO the Celesteela, otherwise the Celesteela would probably 1v1 my Metagross in the position, and like the Dracovish was actually in range of either my Metagross and my Rotom-Wash. So I felt like, okay, why did he protect? So So I think the thought process from Wolf in that position was, okay, I don't think they're going to protect with Rotom-Wash. He kind of needs to damage on Celesteela. If he doesn't, it's really bad. For instance, if I Fishes Rend his Metagross, it'd be Rotom-Wash versus World, and he would 100% lose in that position. So I think he is going to attack with Rotom, especially since how aggressive I've been playing in general with like my win cons. I've definitely made some more aggressive reads than safe plays in general. So I felt like, oh, he probably felt like, okay, I'm going to Fishes Rend to Rotom, and I think the Rotom is going to attack. I think he was committed to believing my Rotom would attack there, and he thought, okay, the problem is I don't know where the Thunderbolt's going. I don't know if it's Thunderbolt in the Celesteela or if it's Thunderbolt in the Dracovish. If it's Thunderbolt in the Celesteela, I lose to Metagross if he attacks with Metagross this turn as well and doesn't protect, and the Rotom survives the Fishes Rend. So I think he was hoping either by protecting the Celesteela, he could at least beat the Metagross at the end of the day. He gets the Fishes Rend damage into Rotom-Wash, and he either hopes for A, crit into Rotom, pick up the knockout, B, it just knocks out, or C, that Fishes Rend is able to pick up the knockout after and with an extra turn of sand damage would be able to pick up the KO. And as a backup plan, hope that like he could get a double protect, so basically the Rotom would go down, and that's basically like, I think it maximized a lot of the odds he had, and I kind of now understand it. It was confusing me at first, but now I think those are the reasons why he decided to. Maybe they're not. It definitely could be something else as a thought process, but that's basically what I believe looking back at this situation. But yeah, and that is going to be the end of the set. I do take it over Wolf in a 2-1 fashion. Definitely one of the more interesting sets we definitely had. It definitely was a lot of back and forth. It could have ended up going either way. A lot of things to consider. Playing around the Celesteela was really tough for my team. Handling the Rotom-Wash was really difficult on his side. And yeah, it could, like, so many possibilities, especially that second to last turn of the game. It really could have gone either way. But if you did enjoy the set, be sure to leave a like down below, leave a comment down below, let me know what you thought of the set, or let me know what you thought about my post commentary. And I tried to break it down as much as possible and my thought process, and hopefully I gave some good insight of why I decided to make the plays that I decided to make throughout the set. But yeah, let me know in the comments down below. But otherwise, check out my social medias down below, where you can go check out my Twitch channel, where again I did originally stream this, as well as like my Twitter and Instagram and all that good stuff. Go check out Wolf stuff as well, will also be listed in the description down below. But that's going to be it for today, and more Players Cup matches will be coming. So have a great day, people, and until we bow again, I'll see y'all later.